Ukrainian forces continued successfully advancing in all main directions. Yesterday, I told you that Lviv may very soon become the main axis of advance, and today Russian sources confirmed that after demining the field and conducting small reconnaissance in-force operations, Ukrainians launched a much bigger attack. Russian sources reported that Ukrainians are advancing not only eastward but also southward, and that today Ukrainian assault units established control over multiple Russian positions in the tree lines. Ukrainian forces are also ramping up the intensity of the attacks in the direction of Rivnopol. Today Russian sources reported that Ukrainians assaulted the settlement with up to 5 tanks and 5 armored fighting vehicles. The goal of this combination of attacks remains to even out the front line and set the conditions for a broader line of advancement. When it comes to the Russian counterattack, as expected, Russian forces failed to recapture Makarivka due to the weak control over the tactical heights around this settlement. Russian sources reported that they relocated their forces from the Orikov front to increase the scale and potency of their counterattack and opened another direction, namely, Uruzhain. Some sources claim that the village is now in the gray zone and the ongoing clashes do not cease because Ukrainians stubbornly continue to hold the line. In order to undermine Russian offensive capabilities, Ukrainian forces have deployed several HIMARS crews to the region to conduct precise counter-battery fire. Geolocated footage showed how Ukrainians destroyed 5 Russian artillery systems. In a desperate attempt to change the situation, Russian forces hacked the radio in the region and started broadcasting a message. They claimed that Ukrainian positions were cut from 2 sides and there was no escape, and the Ukrainian command did not plan to save them, which is why other forces have already left their positions. They said this was their last chance to capitulate because all Ukrainian reserves had been destroyed. Ironically, in the meantime, Ukrainians conducted a massive HIMARS strike on Russian reserves and eliminated more than 200 Russian soldiers. This caused a massive scandal and unofficial investigation in the Russian media space, and Russian sources quickly found out and published the cause and results of the Ukrainian strike. If you still remember, around 3 months ago, I made a video about the biggest tank battle in Ukraine that took place in front of Volodar. I told you that in the aftermath of disastrous planning, Russian forces lost almost 150 tanks and armored fighting vehicles and several brigades worth of troops. There were 2 people responsible for this disaster: Lieutenant General Rustam Muradov and Colonel Sakrab Akhmedov. Interestingly, in their reports, they claimed that they achieved unbelievable success, which is why Putin signed an executive order to give both of them a higher rank, and Rustam Muradov became a colonel general, while Sakrab Akhmedov became a major general. As you might have already guessed, the success of the Ukrainian HIMARS strike was only possible because these commanders were left in charge. Russian sources reported that Sakrab Akhmedov wanted to give a motivational speech to his troops and called everyone to assemble in the yard and wait for him. Unfortunately for Russians, Ukrainian reconnaissance drone operators quickly noticed a parade, gave the coordinate to the HIMARS crews, and eliminated at least 200 Russian troops. So, Akhmedov effectively killed his own troops by ordering everyone to gather in the plain sight of the enemy and forcing everyone to wait for an extended period of time. Even the most prominent Russian sources are calling for the execution of General Akhmedov by firing squad, and they claimed that such Russian commanders killed more Russians with their criminal orders than Ukrainians did with weapons. If you are against the invasion of Ukraine and want to support the work that I am doing, consider making a purchase in the online store UA Supporter. Here you can find a lot of products with Ukrainian symbols to not only show your support for this channel, but also for Ukraine. The link to the online store is in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next report.